Hello, my name is Aaron Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of Red Dog Consulting, LLC. We specialize in public key infrastructure implementations and also installing, using, and configuring hardware security modules, or HSMs. Today we're going to be looking at SMIME, specifically the signature capabilities that SMIME provides, and the use case for that. I'm going to quote it from a document here because it really does nail it a lot better than me. So what it basically does is it can provide email security by encryption, but for our purposes for today, we're looking at specifically the message integrity and the authentication. It ensures that an email message is sent by a legitimate sender and provides an encryption, and that's not something we're going to be looking at in this video, but encryption for incoming and outgoing messages. The reason why we are not going to be looking at encryption is the same certificate I use to log into my network, my machine, and yeah, that's about it actually. I am going to be using to sign these emails. Typically, if you're doing email encryption, you want to think about recoverability of that private key that's been used. Since a lot of times, in this case at least, I'm using a smart card to store the certificates. So to archive that certificate stored on the smart card is often a challenge because the keys are created inside and contained inside the smart card chips, and getting it out is kind of defeating the purpose of using the smart card itself. So a lot of times you want to think about issuing another certificate for SMIME encryption, and also a way for users to keep it secure and bring it to different workstations if they need to. So let's get started. So this is the Outlook client that comes down from Office 365. To get started, you hit the file on the Exchange account, in this case you're using, Options, and the Trust Center, and then Trust Center Settings, and Email Security. So we'll go ahead and delete the previous one so we can set up a new one, and we'll choose the certificate. So I did that kind of fast, but I hit the choose button. Let's look at the certificate. I always check the template, make sure it came from the right one. And then just for a nice learning moment, let's look at the enhanced key usage, or the EKU. Here's our EKU for secure email, so that's why the certificate popped up. And also on the key usage, you can use this for digital signatures, not encryption. So we are all set there. And just to illustrate the point, if we do hit the choose button on encryption, it'll tell us there's nothing available to meet that need. And that's largely because the key usage does not include the ability to encrypt. Hit OK. You can choose the defaults if you want, and then I always try and send these certificates with assigned messages should someone choose to add this to the trust store if they don't have it already, meaning they're off network or out of the domain in this case, and hit OK. Then you just go ahead and write an email. So here's the same account that we added the SMIME configurations to, so we should be there. Let's send it outside of the organization, and we'll call this SMIME testing. Options, that's where you're going to find all this features, all these features. Specifically, we're just going to sign. Again, we don't have a certificate available for encrypting. Even if we hit this button, you'd see a little message pop up when you send it. So now I'm going to be prompted to enter my PIN to let the smart card open up and do the signature services inside. And that's it. So why would you do this? Well, if you're doing emails to a large group of users, you're someone whose email carries a lot of weight, meaning possibly a C-level person, a CEO, CTO, CFO, all those executive positions. Emails from those users often have quite a bit of weight behind it. So to provide that verification, the message integrity, the signature, all that, those features that can be used can be very, very valuable, especially since it's very, very hard to phish someone if it's signed and recognized as a viable signature. So to look at the email, we're just sending it to this account. It's just a little pop account. So we had to tell the machine to go get it. Open this up, inbox, go to unread, pop the email, and let's look at what it looks like. So here right away we see the little trusted emblem, and this means that the root certificate authority is trusted in my trust store, and also tells you who signed it. In this case, it is signed from the sender. Not sure what I did there. Anyway, if you click this open, you get some options to look at this signature. There's the leave certificate, view the details, and you can view the certificate. You can even look at the certificate practice statement that's been published to go along with the use of this certificate. So there's that. And then the same details we looked at previously. And then of course you're not going to allow external content in this because of the signature would not be able to get calculated since all the content is not there, and also you don't want to bring in something that's not secure, something that's off the network. That's it. So I would encourage you to email me if you have any questions, do further research. Setting this up is a question of can you use your current public key infrastructure in your organization? Do you have to set up a new one for this use case, specifically if you're going to incorporate smart cards? A whole lot of stuff. Just think about this though. If you're doing MIME as a way to prove identity, then you should make that certificate very, very hard to get off that machine or off that media. In this case, it's a smart card. I favor smart cards in this case with identity verification because it is two-factor. You have the smart card and you know the PIN. Again, you can use tokens or other devices to store that smart card chip, but we'll call it a smart card for this demonstration. And if you were to just put it on the machine, there are ways to get into the registry. If it's a Windows machine, basically to get that private key so someone could assume your identity. So that's where the nice piece about using a smart card to store these signatures comes in, because you have to know that you have to have and you have to know the PIN to use it. With encryption, your public key has to be accessible to the sender, and a lot of times that happens inside an organization through global address lists, or it can be added to an email contact. And then you just put the trust certificate, if it's not a commonly trusted cert, into your trust store, often the user one, and off to the races. If you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to reach out. Thank you for your time and your interest.